Okay, Josh did.
It's not your department.
Good morning, young man. Nice to see you. Say it again, I'm sorry, I missed the whole thing.
I don't want to, ooh, that's really loud, Josh. I don't want to say anything because the energy is so good. The open hearts and the excitement of being back together. I don't even want to get up here and talk because I just want everybody to get to absorb one another.
Yeah.
So I'll try to make it as complete and maybe quick as possible today. I am Beverly Pryor. I'm the minister here at Unity of the Hill Country. For those of you who don't know, I think most everybody in the room knows, but not everybody. If anybody's here for the first time, the ushers will bring you a little package with a little daily word and a card to fill out if you'd like. If you don't want to, just raise your hand. That's up to you. Okay, we have one person over here, Danny. And so you just fill that out and hand the card back in. So we're happy that you're here with us today. And it's Mike, okay. We're glad that you're here, Mike. Let's just take a moment and hold that high excitement, that energy, but bring that into a moment of prayer. So we're going to pray up here. We're not going to bring it, we're going to breathe, but we're going to keep our breath full. We're going to keep that energy high. So let's close our eyes together. Just take a deep breath in. And slowly release that breath. Just giving ourselves a moment to drop into this now moment. Opening our hearts and our minds. Joining as one. Just express our gratitude and appreciation for this opportunity to be together, to be in the presence of one another, and to know that we bring that Christ nature alive and well in each one of us to greet one another today. The greeting Namaste is interpreted as the light in me beholds the light in you. And today, we hold that as our truth. We hold it as our presence and our deep knowing. For this and so much more, we simply say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I have missed the opportunity for this sharing. We get to say our opening statement together. It's here on the screen if you don't know it. Those of you, you probably know it without reading it, but there it is. There's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, the omnipotent. That feels so good to say that in this crowd. Did you just kind of feel it? I got chills all over because that's the first of our 5 basic principles in unity, and we know this universal truth is alive and well. It has been all this time, even though we haven't been able to come together, but it's so nice to come together in one another's presence. So we have a few announcements, the first of which is that Jack Porter, our beloved board president, wants to say a few words.
Or I asked him to, actually.
Well, good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we want to welcome you back.
Yay!
It's been 13 months,
Yes.
a long time, these challenging days, and a group of dedicated board members came through this pandemic along with you all. Reducing expenses to bare minimum, not having to dip into our reserves, which is great, fantastic. Dealing with church maintenance, keeping the office open, and providing an alternate way to meet virtually. So I want to recognize the Board of Trustees. Stu Walker, back there. Patsy Sherman, who's wasn't able to make it today. Tina Thompson. Danny Donovan, who stepped in again. And Deborah Clark, she's a member of our board as well as myself. So most of us didn't know what Zoom was, or Facebook Live. We knew about Facebook, but not Live. And a little about YouTube. So thanks to Beverly and Mandy, we were able to learn about how to connect with Zoom, different ways. And we experimented and had all kind of blackouts and live and blackouts and live, but we got it, we made it through. So our virtual weekly gatherings, we brought as many people as we could from the internet to participate in our activities and teachings. We also brought in some people from outside that we would have never gotten an opportunity to see, to hear their music and their teachings, and right into our own living rooms. So those who did not have Zoom or Facebook were able to go to YouTube and after the service and watch the services. So I just want to say a big thank you to the board for all their patience and their hard work behind the scene things that you probably don't even see. But they did a really good job. There's a group that I didn't mention, and that's you all. Okay? Our membership, our members provide financial resources so that we could get together today and keep our community intact and viable. Right.
Got a big-hearted board president there. So, Norma, do you want to come up and let people know about our Thursday group?
I don't have to tell anyone at Unity how important meditation
You can
is.
go to the
And I'm sure I don't have to tell anyone here that meditation opens some channels to a higher power. We've tried to keep our group together over these long months by having meditation at home. Sometimes other things intrude. I know we haven't always been able to keep that commitment. But now that we're back together again, please, anyone who wants to join us Thursday at 10:30, please feel free to come. You'll be most welcome.
Thank you, Norma. So if you didn't fully understand that, they have been meditating together in their separate spaces at that same time. So they've been holding that consciousness for all of us. Thank you to that whole group for doing that. So we're tentatively scheduling a town hall meeting for June 27th. That gives us time to plan to be here, especially for those of you who are kind of every other weekers. You get a week or day so off, and we have Father's Day in between. So the 27th, because we really want to hear from the entire community how you want to move forward. You know, we've been in this period of caution and watch out, let's be careful about this, and there was so much information at first, and it changed during the whole year. This room has been set up to come back with distancing for a year. We set it up, but everything was changing so much, and the information, the board, every single month, I want you to know, the board deliberated, they discussed whether or not it was the right time to open the doors again, and whether or not it was a safe time for everyone to be able to come and participate. And I don't know if you noticed, but we even posted the little graphic from the Texas, for Kirk County, the little graph on cases and things like that, just so you know that we are paying attention. I printed that off yesterday. So we're paying attention to what's been going on, and your best interest has always been top of mind. And so that's why today we say we're encouraging you to wear a mask. If you're comfortable with a mask or without a mask, self-manage to where you feel is best for you. So at that town hall, we'll want to know, are you comfortable singing again? We're not going to sing together today, but are you ready to sing together in a group? Are you ready to have live singers performing? Are you ready to have a potluck and share food? Because we can't ask people about vaccinations and all. I mean, you can just self-disclose, but that we just don't want that to be an issue. So we want everybody to share what their concerns are and how they feel as a community that you'd like to move forward. Does that sound good to kind of be involved in that discussion? The board has been making these decisions and reviewing this information, but we want everyone's feedback. So we want you to come to that meeting. We'll probably give you a list of things to sort of think about before that meeting, so you can sort of get your thoughts together. But everyone, it's not a membership meeting. Everyone who comes and is part of our community, whether you have joined or not, it's not important. If you are a part of our community, you have a voice, and it matters, and we care.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, so Sacred Service sign up. Well, the board basically has had to show up this morning and be a part of, and then Danny recruited a few extra people, and thank you, Annette and Isabella and different people who showed up this morning, Sue, but we really are kind of starting from scratch. We need to start with ushers and greeters and a regular schedule of those people who are committed to do that. That's how we run. We're a community-run organization. Mandy and I are here, and we're here to support you, but we can't do all the things that need to get done. So we need platform assistance. You don't want to hear me talk for the whole time every Sunday. You want me to do my part, but you want a platform assistant. You want to see your peers up here doing what they do, opening the show, being the MC.
Right.
We want people to read the daily word. We want people to teach classes again. We want people to facilitate different events. So out in the Welcome Center is the table, and as Connie Lucas used to say, the infamous sign-up sheet. But we want you to put your name down and let us know, what would you like to do? Maybe you've never read the Daily Word before, but you would like to. Put your name down. Maybe you've never been a platform assistant before, but you'd like to. We will train you. And besides, we offer you a script. You don't have to say it word for word. That's not the point of it. The point of it is to give a flow to the day. But whatever you would like to do, put your name down and be a part. Step in and participate in sacred service. And of course, as Jack mentioned, we're down to, and I don't even know if I'm even in my little iPad is sitting here, and we're going hopefully live. It's right here, Jay, and on this tripod. We're not really set up technologically to be an online ministry. We have done for the last year by Zoom, but that requires my face to sit in a computer, which is not friendly to people being face to face. I really prefer prefer looking at you, although I've seen many of you on the Zooms, but I really prefer looking at you right here face to face and feeling your energy. And so we've done away with Zoom, we're down to Facebook Live, so it's there, but it's not going to be, we don't have one of those integration boards, we don't have an AV, no one's, Josh has a nice set of equipment back there, but it's not a professional system. So for those of you who are looking online and you see this and you're going, well, that's different from how it's been, that's right. It's coming to you from an iPad in the middle of the room, and that's the best we can do. And so I appreciate everybody just being patient with us. But if you miss, there will be something out there. And if you don't care about seeing the video, Josh is still recording, so there will be the talk on the little podcast section of our website. And so we're trying to cover all the bases that we can and do the best we can with what we have. So thank you for your patience and your love.
Thank you.
And that's enough talking about stuff. Now it's time to pray. My favorite part. So you all know that Unity was founded on prayer. And they have been praying at Silent Unity for over 130 years. Non-stop. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, someone is in prayer vigil. So when you submit a prayer request to our box here, which of course it doesn't have any in it just yet, or you submit it online, or you submit it anyway, you can call us, you can send a text. Sometimes people text me with a prayer request. It goes to our local prayer team here. And then from that, Mandy collects all the prayer requests each month, and they go up to Unity Village where they sit in vigil for 30 days straight. Now you can call directly to Silent Unity at this number here, or go straight to their website. That's fine as well. But just know that Unity began as a prayer circle. Myrtle Fillmore healed herself. Her husband said, hey, how'd you do that? And he worked on himself and did some lengthening of his leg that he had been sort of out of kilter about his whole life. It's amazing. And so they decided they had discovered this deeper knowing of the power of prayer, and they wanted to share it with people. So from a little circle, began newsletters and different things, and praying for people all over the place, and publishing, and it became a movement. So here we are. So let's take a moment now, and just close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And to get centered and connected again, let's just take a deep breath in and release. So if there's something on your heart or mind today for yourself or for another, just take a moment now and send it forth into the collective consciousness of knowing and claiming. There's no degree of prayer, there's none too great or too small for that absolute good we know in the universe as God. Every prayer, whether it's for health and well-being, finances, relationship, it doesn't matter. Every request gets the same powerful and resounding yes, 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 yes. We know that it's the consciousness from which we pray that makes the difference. So we pray in the way of our way shower, Jesus, the Christ, claiming our good in this moment, knowing it is done. And for this truth and so much more, we simply say thank you. Thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Okay, the mission and vision statement, if you haven't been joining us online, you've probably forgotten it by now. The mission is to live consciously. The vision, celebrating the divine potential in all. So let's say it all as one sentence together. To live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all. That's divine potential Not that it's not there, it's potential because it's whether or not we have the awareness to call it forth, to behold it, to let it ignite within us. But the divinity is there in each and every one of us equally. And every moment, every circumstance, every dynamic, and every person, whether you like them or not, there's divinity in there. So our daily word reader today will be our board president, Mr. Jack Porter.
Thank you. Well, everybody knows my name, so I'm scripted. It's my pleasure to read the Daily Word. We join millions of Daily Word readers around the world to receive this message. The Christ candle has been lit. It represents the divine nature within us all. If you would repeat with me an affirmation, my thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life. So our word of the day is healing. Today I give you thanks. I give thanks to the constant activity of divine healing life, especially when my body is experiencing illness. To bolster my awareness of my capacity for healing, I place my attention on my inherent wholeness. I affirm life in my thoughts, my words, my actions, as I care for my body and meet its needs. My faith assures me that illness is not the truth of me, nor is it my enduring reality. Through my actions, I am affirming wholeness in my true nature and encouraging my healing. Even when I am not facing illness, I greet each day by blessing my body, affirming my wholeness and ongoing activity of divine life in every organ, every cell. I give thanks for the gift of divine life by giving thanks for my healing and living joyously. In Luke 8:48, he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Thank you.
I printed off those 2 slides. Would you mind? I think they're in the print. Sorry, I didn't want to turn my back to you to read the scripture, but it's at the end, so she'll be back in time. So let's prepare for our time of meditation. If you know this song, it's just beautiful. I know that the Baileys listen to it often. Melinda Wood Allen is a singer-songwriter and a Unity minister. I think she's Unity, or one of the New Thought churches anyway. So let's just prepare for meditation, if you will. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, just settle in and listen to these words. In this moment, I release, I let go, I find peace. eyes closed. Let's take a deep breath in. And release. Bringing our attention to the breath. Just breathing in your own normal rhythm. See if you can find the little gap, the little transition between the breath. Not holding the breath. Just changing from inhaling to exhaling. In that gap, in that moment, we allow our minds to become still. Now just follow that breath as it moves deeper and deeper within. To the very center of your being, your secret place of the Most High. The very center of you is that knowing, that truth of the indwelling Christ, expressing through you and as you. In this space, you know your truth. You know you are love. Joy. And you are peace. From this Christ consciousness, the Ho'oponopono prayer used in this song becomes easier to express in your life. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Each statement stands alone, powerful and transformative. It's spoken from the Christ consciousness, activates the absolute good in our lives. Moment in the silence, we know this truth. Together, let's take a deep breath in and release, bringing your attention back to this moment and this time. cultivation of truth, of the Christ expressing as each one of us. And so it is. Amen. And you may sing with the Alleluia if you choose. Hopefully we didn't put too much breath out there in the world, that gentle hallelujah. We want to always be cautious and aware. So my talk today is, see what? I like to play with the titles. But I took it from this book, and I was telling Dave, I highly recommend if the book group is going to come back together, that would normally meet right before, I highly recommend this book. It's called See No Stranger, a memoir and manifesto of revolutionary love by Valerie Carr. I don't know if anyone's heard of it or read it. It's beautifully written. It's got a lot of wisdom, and it's very much in alignment with unity principles. So this is what the cover looks like, and this is a photo of Valerie. Now, Valerie was raised in a family in California on a farm, but her family was originally from India, and they practiced Sikhism. And so her grandfather was in the family, living with them as multi-generational families often do in other cultures, not so much in the U.S., but in other cultures it's very common. So she had a very strong bond with her grandfather, who was a very spiritual man, and he was always humming and chanting and just rejoicing in life, very aware of the nature of God in his presence at all times. And so the core beliefs of Sikhism are faith and meditation on the name of the one Creator. That sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Divine unity and equality of all humankind. Also very familiar. Engaging in seva, also known as selfless service. That's also very common in the Hindu belief system. Striving for justice for the benefit and prosperity of all. Honest conduct and livelihood while living a householder's life. So a householder is someone who's just very spiritual and devout, but living a normal life, as opposed to a monastic life, where you would go and seclude yourself in a monastery. And it says, following this standard, Sikhism rejects the claim that any particular religious tradition has a monopoly on absolute truth. Also very familiar, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think you would really enjoy having this book as a discussion. And she tells really beautiful stories. Also, she's an attorney and an activist. And you can see where she would become an activist, being this part of her religious bringing up. This is a picture with her grandfather. And you can see the love between the two of them. I want to make sure I get out of your way so you can see that picture. But a lot of times people misinterpret the wearing the hair binding. That is a Sikh tradition. Sometimes people attribute that to other religions. But her grandfather, she called him Papaji. So those of you who've been in the yoga tradition, you know that Ji at the end of anyone's name is an honoring. Like we would say Jack Ji. So like sir or Mr. or something a little bit higher than Mr., really. But anyway, he would always tell her stories of their Guru Nanak, I think is how you say it, who was the founder of the Sikh tradition. Now, it's actually one of the newer traditions out of India. You know, India is a mass country, just like the United States is. And it has, people think it's all yogis and Hindu, but it has Christians and Muslims and Hindu and Sikh and all traditions. Jainism is also very big there. So he really taught her what I would call more like a Taoist perspective, very connected with nature. And she would talk about how he would really rejoice in the way the water would spray out of the water hose and create a rainbow. But just take her into a moment like that, just an ordinary, everyday moment would become wonder and beauty. And the very first chapter of this book is about wonder. And she says, wonder is our birthright. We think that wonder is something that only children have, right? Children are curious, children are open, everything's new to them. But you know, everything can be new to us if we allow ourselves. Wonder's definition is a feeling of surprise mingled with admiration caused by something beautiful, unexpected, unfamiliar, or inexplicable. But how often when something is unexpected, unfamiliar, or inexplicable, do we kind of want to shut it down? We don't like it. It's not the way we knew it to be. It's not the way I thought it would be. Instead of going into a moment of wonder, oh, it's not the way I thought it would be. Oh, it's different. It's turning out a little bit, oh, unusual. I'm not familiar. But you see the difference. But our human nature, and it's part of that reptilian brain thing, you know, that survival mode. I don't know what it is. I got to stop it right now. And if you've been in that mode in your life, I think we probably all have been at some point, you know that shuts down your joy. It shuts down your chance to explore. It shuts down your wonder and awe of any given moment. But when you've allowed yourself to just follow that, I did a talk, I don't know, it must have been a couple of years ago now, since we've been out in Sutherland for a year and a half, about awe. And it's the same thing, it's the same principle. It's a choice how we view it if we allow ourselves to be in awe. It's a natural state for children, right? They see water, what do they want to do? Splash, run through it, stomp in it. It's just a moment, you know, and then you see parents going, don't do that, I just bought those shoes. We've all been there. But the child is not thinking about the shoes or the pants or anything else. I had a little bit of a moment with that yesterday. I got this water hose out, and I had this little front courtyard, and I was going to use this hose that I hadn't used yet. And all of a sudden, it has these little designs on the side of the handle, and I guess they had given over the winter because the water started spraying sideways and as well as forward. And at first I was like, oh, that what? And I looked at it and it just kept spraying in my face. But I just started spraying with it. And I had on jeans and a nice top I got me. I was really just going to rinse people, but I got totally soaked. But I had fun doing it. I just went with it. It's like, I'm wet, why not get wetter? Why not just be in that moment and let this crazy water hose do its thing? You know, it was the handle, you know, not the hose. It was one of those curly hoses and the handle came with it. Anyway, it was really fun. And so I just carefully went inside and, you know, took all the wet clothes off. But I didn't get mad at the thing. which is sometimes what we do, right? We go, oh, I wanted to just water that, or I was gonna go to the grocery store later, or whatever. But children, I mean, this is a ball, but with children, it can become anything. It can become a planet. It can become a friend. It can become anything in their imagination. They allow themselves. Have you seen dogs and children chase bubbles? They know they're not going to get that bubble and play with it. It's going to pop every time. But they continue to work just hard to get to it, to try to capture it, sometimes even let it land on their tongue. I've done that as a child. It really doesn't taste as good as it looks. Or a pillow fight. I mean, I have gotten in so much trouble as a child doing things like this. But it's fun to just let go. And why don't we do this as adults? Why?
Right. We're gonna have to clean it up.
Because we have to clean it up. Well, yes, but the trade-off is the moment of joy. As long as you don't get like my brother would get, and suddenly this playful pillow fight becomes a pummeling, that can get too far. But if you really just let yourself look at the joy on their faces. There's so many moments that are just nothing. Children pick up a stick, and it becomes a pen or a magic wand, or for boys mostly a gun or an arrow or something. But it's their imagination, and that's something that we all have within us. So I'm going to share with you from the book. And so she's written in this first chapter, I see no stranger, said Guru Nanak. I see no enemy. Guru Nanak taught that all of us could see the world in this way. There is a voice inside of each of us called Hamai, the I that names itself as separate from you. It resides in the bowl that holds our individual consciousness. But separateness is an illusion. When we quiet the chatter in our heads through music or meditation or recitation or song, or the boundaries begin to disappear. The bowl breaks. For a moment, we taste the truth. Sweet as nectar, we are part of one another. Joy rushes in. Long after the moment passes, we choose to remember the truth of our interconnectedness, that we belong to one another. We can choose to see no stranger. And then she goes on a few pages later. The call to love beyond our own flesh and blood is ancient. It echoes down to us on the lips of indigenous leaders, spiritual teachers, and social reformers through the centuries. Guru Nanak called us to see no strangers. Buddha to practice unending compassion. Abraham to open our tents to all. Jesus to love our neighbors. Muhammad to take in the orphan. And Mirabay to love without limit. They all expanded the circle of who counts as one of us, and therefore who is worthy of our care and concern. These teachings were rooted in the linguistic, cultural, and spiritual context of their times, but they spoke of common vision of our interconnectedness and interdependence. It is the ancient Sanskrit truth that we can look upon one another or anything and say, Tat Vam Asi, I am that. I am that is a really powerful phrase. Next time you catch yourself, which we all do, criticizing, or judging another, pull out that phrase and say, I am that. Because whatever it is you're judging, you're probably that.
And that's usually why we criticize it in other people, because we don't like it in ourselves. But if you use that phrase, I am that, it really flips your head around. And as the African philosophy, Ubuntu, which I spoke about last week, I am because you are. It is the Mayan precept in Lake. You are my other me. So we're not separate from one another, and that's why we really are so excited to be together in community again, because we see ourselves in one another. But we're not just called to come together and look at one another, shake one another's hands, and hug one another's necks. We're here to love one another, to express our divinity, and most importantly, to see that divinity in everyone else around us. Ubuntu. Remember that phrase, Ubuntu. So then last week I told this story, and I'll tell it real quickly because I think we're getting short on time. But there was an anthropologist who was trying to understand this tribal philosophy of Ubuntu, and he went to a community, a little village, and he brought this big basket of oranges, and he called these children together, and he said, okay, we're going to have a race, and whoever gets to the basket of oranges first gets to do whatever they want to with the basket of oranges. You can eat them all yourself, you can keep them for your family, you can do whatever you want, but you're the winner, and you get all the oranges. And the children looked at one another and joined hands and walked to the basket together. That's Ubuntu. I am because we are. And that's the truth of this community. As Jack said, I'm going to get all teary, just like Jack did, maybe not as teary as Jack, because he's such a big softie. But you have held us together all this time. Your prayers, your consciousness, your financial contributions, you've held us together. Yes, the board met every month, but we also met every month and we blessed and acknowledged you and your participation and your contributions on so many levels. So you have an opportunity here to sign up for sacred service. As we mentioned, the sheet is out there. Seva, as it's called in Sanskrit. Participate. Be a daily word reader, a platform assistant, ushered reader. We need the choir to come back together. We have choir members who are ready to come back together, but we need to fill that in. We need speakers. If you have an idea, you want something, you have something to share, let me know, and we'll see if we can't work it in one week. You want teachers. We had the best year before we closed. Garland O'Quinn was teaching. Steve Dyer was bringing all of his experiences to Thursday night. We need facilitators, musicians, meditation leaders, facilities helpers. I changed all the light bulbs. Besides this one, we had to call the guy. But the rest of them, I changed myself. But sometimes Mandy needs a little office support. If we decide on the 27th we want to start printing bulletins again and exchanging paper, we just have to decide our comfort level with all these nuances. And outreach. Carolyn Bailey was keeping us going, connected with Habitat for Humanity and different things like that, and Tina and the care team were making casseroles. Those are the kinds of things that, give a community life. We're in service to one another. And we need to kind of bring that energy of focus and cohesive service back to life. So just give us your email and phone number and address and tell us what you'd like to do. So I just want to read a little bit from the Bible because it's our foundational text, even though we study from all the teachings that we find that connection with. But Paul is speaking to the Romans in chapter 12, 4 and 5, and it says, "For as in one body we have many members, and not all the members have the same function. So we, who are many, are one body in Christ, and individually we are members one of another. We are members one of another. I'm a member of you and you're a member of me. Most of you know that I volunteered with Art of the Living Foundation, and one of the things we would say in the workshops is, I belong to you. And we would say that back and forth to each other and look one another in the eye, I belong to you. And then further in this same chapter, in verse 9 through 13, let love be genuine. Reject what is evil, hold fast to what is good. Love one another. You've got that down. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not lag in zeal. You know what that means? Don't hide your light under a bushel. Don't lag in zeal. It's a funny thing to say. Be ardent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Serve that consciousness of divinity in all of us. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in suffering. Persevere in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints. Extend hospitality to strangers. But of course, if you see no stranger, then you don't have to worry about that one. Again, I highly recommend this book. I'm going to use it. Now, I'm not going to do the book study from here. If you want to have the book study, I'm not telling you to do that book, but if you'd like to. But I will use it probably the whole month of June, just pulling from different places within the book to put the talks together. So if you are a reader and you really want to jump on a new book, Judy, because I know you said you were looking for something more. She read the whole library in her house a couple of different times since we've all been sequestered. So your weekly practice this week is to meet a stranger. Of course, don't see them as a stranger, right? Be still and open your heart and wonder. Wonder about that person. And then wonder. Be in wonder with whatever you learn about them. Allow yourself to really just be like a child, like it's your first day on earth and everything is brand new. Because didn't it feel like your first day on earth today to get to come back together and hug and kiss and make that connection? Amen. So thank you. Namaste. I love you. This is our opportunity to take, yes, you can, whoever was that, yeah, Ray, you've always got that. I will stop for that. But thank you so much. And so normally we would have music and, you know, we're just right now using the MP3 files and playing music. That's a little recording for those of you who don't know, a digital recording. But this is our time where we really want to give you an opportunity to give, because giving is an expression of your knowledge and understanding and your consciousness. And so those of you who want to give what you give. Those of you who've been mailing your checks in, we probably already have your offering. So while we do this, we will listen to the song that Josh is going to play, and I've put a few little slides together while the ushers take up, and then we'll bless the offering afterwards.
Our hopes in a quiet sunrise. What makes our hearts Surely it is love. Surely it is love. Eternal awakening, connecting all our soul. The gift of life's beckoning, so beyond our control. What do we lean on? What fills our cup? What knocks us down then raises us up? Deep down inside you, what glorifies you? Surely is love. Surely it is love. Surely it is love. Surely it is love. Yes, surely it is love. Yes, surely it is.
Do you recognize some of those faces? I just had to use the ones that were on my computer. I didn't have the whole inventory of photos, so mostly it was Thanksgiving that one year. But anyway, let's take a moment and bless our offerings with the offertory prayer you see on the screen. Divine love, as we need, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send it forth with my blessings and my love. And we will close today with our poem by James Dillett Freeman, which is the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Amen. Thank you for being here today. Stay and mingle. We have some water, coffee, some snacks that are individually packaged. We also, Jack and Danny and Josh and I set up this canopy outside if you prefer to socialize outside. There's some chairs in the shade out there. I don't think it's it's only 80 right now. So thank you all. And you know, it's not as much fun without our choir and our music, but we're going to get back to that. We're going to come back together with more energy. Thank you all. Namaste. I love you.